gray screen. Let me flip from one to the next and see if it started. It should say natural disasters on it, is what it should say right now. Yeah, it's supposed to have mountains. Yeah, it's supposed to show like a blue background and some mountains up there. Okay, you got it. Very good. For those of you that cannot get on to the Nearpod, I will have a link that you can go through after class, and it kind of goes through everything again, and you can put stuff in. So no worries here. You can just kind of follow along and go on as we go along. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen real quick so you can follow along as I'm sharing here. And once again, I apologize about being a little late. Just family stuff got ran to. Yeah, it should say natural disasters. And that means that you'd be on the right Nearpod. And I'm just kind of sharing the screen right now so you can kind of see. Okay, so today what we're going to do, we're going to be talking about natural disasters. And what I do want to mention, though, that this lesson will be recorded for learning purposes. So for people that are absent, the Nearpod link, let me put that in there real quick. Yeah, I think somebody else put it in the chat too, but that's a direct link that I just put in the chat. So you can get in there. Okay, so just so you know, this will be recorded. So for those that can't do it. Yep, if it doesn't work, that's okay. I'll be sending you another link that will kind of help you out there. All right, so some virtual expectations that I have for you is to kind of use your pointer to follow along. Raise your hand for permission to kind of speak. If you have like if I'm not getting to, I'm trying to teach and look at the chat at the same time. So if I can't really get that, then just, flip up, get my attention so you can, so I can answer your question if you need something. Respond to questions the first time. So if I ask you to kind of put in something in the Nearpod or type in the chat, something like that, if you just do that fairly quickly so we can move on and we don't waste a lot of time doing that. All right. Also, if you're away, just kind of let me know, just so I can give you kind of participation points. The participation points do count as you go through the Nearpod. And so if you can't get onto it right now, as I said, I'll send out a link and I'll show you where to find that. A lot of you still need participation points from your first lesson, so that'll be a good time to show you. And then also use the chat tool respectfully. No kind of going after each other or inappropriate kind of stuff there. Okay, I am going to flip over to another screen real quick. So as I'm screen sharing, this shows where your course is right now. As you can see, this is the first lesson that we recorded right there. So if you did miss that, you can go on there. And the Nearpod, if you were not able to get participation points yet, you can go there and you can click on it, and that will take you through the first lesson. So you can get participation points there. As for the plan of where you're supposed to be, you should have completed lesson 1 right there. And I did mark off zeros that did not complete lesson 1. So if you haven't done that, please go through that Nearpod, complete it, and then I can go in and update your participation points, and then your quiz should be automatically graded. What we're doing today should be completed by this coming Friday. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is, and no, you haven't missed anything, we're just barely getting started here, is giving a natural disaster, list of natural disasters, and this is actually going to be through the LOS, not through a Google exit ticket, which I'll show you where to get it. Students will choose one natural disaster and research a current event to determine when the last natural disaster occurred and how it had affected the environment in that area with 80% accuracy across one trial. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking at today. So first off, we got to think of what is a natural disaster. And so we're going to be going over that and kind of going there. So there's a little video, or actually, oh, for teacher input. So let me flip to my teacher view real quick. Would you like to approve? No. Okay. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to put in on the Nearpod for those that are in it. What is a natural disaster? Okay. So I need you to put at the bottom here, share your thoughts, what a natural disaster is, and then put post. Okay. So somebody put something that causes change to the earth. Okay, very good. For example, a tsunami, earthquake, volcanic eruption. Good. Tornado. Yep, tornado would be. A disaster that it naturally occurs. Correct. Extreme forces, weather, etc. causes damage. I like the picture of the tornado there. Very good. A natural event such as a flood, earthquake, or a hurricane that causes great damage and loss of life. Something, okay, let's be more specific than something. A flood, okay, that's good. Things that affect human lives, yep, earthquake, volcano, landslide, yep. Volcanoes, things that naturally happen. Oh, that's a cool picture right there. That would be scary to be right there. Looking on that. All right, major averse, yep. Good, earthquakes and stuff, serves natural events. Any kind of weather. So it could be a little bit more specific than any kind of weather. It's more of any weather that causes a disaster, right? That affects humans negatively. So very good. All right, looks like we got some things. Yep. A lot of times it does cause death. Correct. Okay, let's move on to the next one here. So basically, the world is always changing, okay? Natural disasters are changing, which are so great that causes damage to the shape of the land and to the people's lives and living things that are around it. Okay, great changes to the happen even deep inside the Earth's surface, you know, like volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, that kind of stuff. The changes on the outer exterior of the Earth we can kind of see. Okay, so here are some examples of natural disasters, which you guys already put quite a few of those in already. So volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, cyclones or hurricanes, avalanches, floods, droughts, bushfires or brush fires, and there are a lot more that you can kind of think of. All right, so here is what I'll have you do is I'll have you watch this little video, okay? So this video basically shows a little bit of what natural disasters are. And let me see if this will actually work on the teacher view for those that do not have access to it. Okay, tell me if you can hear this video.
Natural disasters are part of the way that
Can you hear that?
works.
Awesome.
In the ideal world, we would all live in places that aren't affected by natural hazards. We wouldn't live near coastlines. We wouldn't live along the San Andreas Fault in California. We wouldn't live underneath the volcanoes in the Pacific Northwest. But we live where our homes are. I mean, those are the places that are important to us. And then there are many people that don't have choices. The museum is presenting this exhibit to describe these events to people so they have a better understanding of earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, and tornadoes.
Okay. So there is a question on there that you will need to answer. Okay. So, which of the natural disasters mentioned is most relevant in Utah? Okay, think about this carefully. So somebody did put hurricanes. I'm not sure hurricane's going to be that correct one, right? Okay, so we still have 12% that have an answer that's on there. So if you can hurry and try to answer that real quick. Yeah, it'd be a very salty hurricane if we did have one, right? Okay, I'm going to move on.
But more than that, to begin thinking about the risks associated with them. As climate warms, we expect there to be more severe storms, more severe droughts, more wildfires, and to some extent, over the last decade, we've seen just that. There's no way we're going to avoid the natural hazards on a dynamic Earth. But there are certainly ways that we can learn to live with it, to mitigate the risks to society.
All right. So that gives you a little bit overview real quick about natural disasters and how it's kind of affecting and how we're actually seeing an increase in natural disasters as the more people live on the earth, as humans and the environment are interacting one with another. So let's just kind of go over some of those real quick, just briefly. So volcanoes, okay? A volcano's eruption or spurting out of gases and lava from an opening in the Earth's crust. It comes from pressure deep within inside the Earth, and it forces ashes and gas and molten rock to the surface. Okay, an earthquake, which is the most likely to happen here in Utah. Probably most of you may have felt an earthquake that happened this last spring here in 2020. But what it is it's the earthquake is a violent shaking of the ground. Sometimes it's strong that it splits the earth actually apart. When parts of the earth are called plates, they move against each other. Another gigantic shock wave will kind of move. So we actually felt shock waves from the earthquake that happened in the spring, like 3 months afterwards. Maybe you want to put on the chat real quick if you've ever did you feel that earthquake at all? Yep. Yeah. I remember I was coming out of a building, actually. I was at the gym and I came out of the gym and I could see the building shaking. It was a little kind of scary. Yeah. Kind of scared a lot of people, I think. So we're going through there. Okay, another one. We got cyclones, hurricanes, tornadoes, or typhoons. Okay, a cyclone is a fierce storm with strong winds that spin around in a giant circle. During the cyclone, trees can be uprooted, buildings can be destroyed, and cars can be overturned. Okay, and so a hurricane would happen over the ocean. Same with a typhoon. It just depends on what hemisphere you kind of live in. Yeah, cyclone is a hurricane that's in the southern hemisphere. Very good. Okay. Tornadoes are those that are on land. Yeah, and we had some big winds. Somebody was saying that, and they had a tree falling down. Very cool. One that's common around here, it's going to be more common here pretty soon as winter hits, is an avalanche. Okay, and an avalanche is snow or ice that slides down the side of a mountain. Avalanches can come up to are faster than a car and can go up to 124 miles per hour. It's because of the melting of the snow underneath, and it just kind of goes there. So that's something if you're a skier or a snowmobiler or something like that that you need to be aware of in Utah. Okay, another one is flooding. So flooding is another pretty common one, especially like if you have a hurricane that's kind of by there, it'll raise that water up. There's also, when we get a lot of water as well in the mountains, there's a lot of flooding that goes on in Utah as well. So we can see that flooding happen. Another one that you may not think of too often, but one is drought. Okay, so the lack of rain that kind of comes in there. So if you have drought, this one says in 1968, a drought began in South Africa. A child that was born during that year would be 5 years old before they could ever saw rain before. And so there's some areas where there's extreme lack of water and drought there in a certain area. Okay, so that could be something else. This one, you think about California right now, they're going through a lot of forest fires or brush fires. Okay, burnout areas, they're not very good. We also have Utah, correct, that has a lot of fires that happen and stuff like that. So it's something we all want to be know about, right? Is especially when you like maybe buy a house or something like that. Sometimes they make you get extra insurance on it because you are in a thing. Yeah, so somebody said they saw a big freeway fire. I remember driving one time out by Tooele, out that area, and there was a huge fire on the side of the road. There was fire actually on both sides of the freeway as we were driving down. So it happens quite a bit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to watch another video about some natural disasters that have happened already in 2020. Okay, and then I'll get you on with what we're going to be doing for the objective and assignment for today.
Okay, I'm just trying to check the intensity or the speed of the wind, and I'm applying full strength to try and open this. It's a bit hard. Oh God.
All right, so that just gives you some ideas of all the stuff that's happened just in this year, and that it happens in every year and stuff like that. So, what I want you to put on this one in your pod, I said, what is the most recent natural disaster you remember hearing about? Okay. Okay, so wildfires in Utah, fires in California, fires. Okay, wildfires, a lot of wildfires. Yep, that would be crazy. That picture right there. Okay, fires. Okay, so there's a lot of fires that hurt. Some hurricanes are going on too. Yep. Murder. Yeah, I heard about that thing too about like the hornets that are their killer bees basically. They're working their way up, and they're so pretty bad. Wildfires, COVID. There's a lot going on there. Some COVID, not the bees. Fires. Okay. Very good. Fire. UK shutting down again for COVID. That's correct. They are closing the entire country. Yep. Fires, locusts, and coronavirus. All right. Okay, sounds like we got quite a bit here. So this is what you need to do on your assignment, and this is what you're going to get credit for. So you get credit for participation, right? Going through the Nearpod. If you were not able to get on the Nearpod, I will have another link for you that you can find on the homepage that I'll be sending out. But this is what you need to do. You need to choose one natural disaster to research. Now, we've gone over multiple natural disasters that you can kind of look at, okay? So it can be anyone. Indicate where in the world this natural disaster happened last, okay? So if you wanted to do an earthquake, right? Type in earthquake, look at the news, kind of see where the last natural disaster happened, okay? What you need to do in at least 75 words, you need to describe what this natural disaster did to the environment of where it happened, okay? So if it's an earthquake, what did it change? Did it destroy houses? Did it do stuff like that? If it was, I guess you got the coronavirus, right? Which is we considered a natural disaster. You know, what has it done to the population, the people, things that are happening, right? So you got to look at all those things. So as you go to the next slide, it's going to pull you up to take you directly to where you need to go to the assignment, okay? The assignment where you pop up. So if you go into content, Lesson 2, natural disasters assignment. Mine doesn't show it, but yours is going to pull up with the quiz, and then you can start putting things down, okay? This will be due by Friday, so make sure you go and get that done. But if you do have any questions, I'll be here on the chat for quite a while after to answer any questions. Or, by the way, we do have a study hall that should be on your schedule at 1:15. You can come. I'll be in there to help you out too. And that's the day that's due, is on Friday. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. So what are you confused about? Let me stop the recording real quick. Oops. And then I'll